Welcome to this edition of the $1 Million Mastermind Podcast. This is where we pick the brains of high achievers from all walks of life and get their hard-earned, real-world insights on winning. I'm your host, Larry Weidel. I'm with Lee Haney. Hey, Lee. Thanks for
how you doing, Larry?
Thanks for taking the time. Lee Haney, 8-time Mr. Olympia by age 32, and forever, Arnold Schwarzenegger will never be able to catch him because he only had 7.
That's right.
And so went on, retired at 31, and had a lot of successes. We'll get into that. But before we do that, let's talk about, you said when you've trained so many successful people, because you're in Atlanta, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And Atlanta's a big booming town, especially in the movie business, But Evander Holyfield is from there, but Steve Harvey, Evander Holyfield, Tyler Perry, Lord knows how many people, famous people you've trained. And plus met, you one of the things about being a high achiever, and what I try and do on this call, Lee, is to let people get in and listen to the conversations between high achievers. Because, I'm sure you've had lots of talks with Evander and lots of talks with Steve Harvey and this, that, and the other. But for people to listen in on those, they can pick up so much, so much magic, because it takes the mystery out of people they think are on a super beings, on another level,
right. Mm-hmm.
Don't have problems, and realize they're real people dealing with real issues. And, when you make a mistake, you learn. Like I was talking to somebody last week, and he said, the thing is, we're all ignorant pretty much when we show up every day, because you're ignorant for the problems that you got to deal with that day.
Yeah, that's right.
Like it's going to come at you from a different way. If it's a business, personal life, your personal, your health, whatever, there's a curveball coming, and
that's
you're going to have to come up with something. And your experience is helpful, but it's going to challenge you. You're going to stay challenged, and you're either going to meet it or you're going to get beat down. At any day we can lose our momentum.
I recall Mike Tyson making a statement. He said, everybody got to have a good fight plan, a good game plan, until they get hit in the mouth the first time.
Yeah.
He said, then it all goes out the window.
All goes out the window. And talk about where you realize in training some of these really high achievers, people at the top of their field, they come to you for training. Now they're ready to, they're students, but you still picked up their style and their approach and their way they went about business. You said you noticed that winners lock in on plan A. Tell us more about that.
Yes, one of the things that I was with Steve Harvey for roughly 12 years, training Steve, and man, you get to hear, his upbringing, his mindset, all of that you get to hear. And that's one thing Steve always talked about, the plan A and the plan B, and he said, Lee, plan B is a lack of faith. Plan B is really an excuse. So that if you not successful with A, you got something to fall back on. He said, but people who become successful, they stay with A, and they find a way to make A work. If A don't work this way, then let's do A another way. Or let's go back to A and find out, okay, where did I go wrong? Or let me use this experience gained in A so that I can now move to the next level. So that was his mindset. And, now he's not doing stand-up comedy. So guess what he's doing? He's doing this now with the Family Feud. He's doing it now with his show as a judge. So he's still working plan A, but he reworked it in such a way, or rebranded it in such a way that he's still a comedian, but not stand-up comedy. So he's still living the passion that was in him as a kid. He had this thing in him as a kid to be a comedian. He shared with me the story of him being an 8-year-old boy, and listened to his father and some of the older guys while at the back of the barn. So he was listening to him tell jokes and all of this. And next thing you know, he's in the restroom at home looking in the mirror and telling jokes. And his mom heard him use a couple of words that were grown-up words and said, boy, you wait till your dad get home. I'm going to tell your dad and he's going to tan your hide. And he said after his dad got home, his dad said, boy, what is it that you did? Come here in this room. And he closed the door. And next thing you knew, he started telling his dad, Dad, I didn't mean nothing, Dad. I just heard in the back of the barn. I was sneaking around to hear y'all talking and laughing. And I heard this thing say that this recording. He said, let me hear what you said, boy. And he told him, after that, he said, boy, you're pretty good, ain't you? You're pretty good. Come on, let's go out to the barber shop, let the guys hear you. Anyway, that ticked his mother off, but hey, instead of him beating him up, he sort of encouraged him. So here we are today. So that plan A was in him when he was a little boy, and it's still there. It has now made him a millionaire. So that plan A is plan A. That's, it's your passion. It was my passion. As a little boy, at the age of 6 years old, I tried to pick a boulder up and throw it over my dad's car. I thought I was Samson and Hercules when I was 6 years old. The boulder didn't go over the car. It landed in the back glass, and I couldn't figure out why it didn't go over the car. But my dad came to that door. He said, who did it? And he looked at my brother, who was 3 years older than me, much larger. I mean, my brother was like 6'4", 6'5". Here I'm this little bitty guy. He looked at me, looked at my brother, and said, he couldn't have done that. He said he did do it, Daddy. He did do it. It wasn't me. Man, my dad took off after him, and man, he got his butt beat something off. But my dad didn't realize there was a Mr. Universe in that little old 6-year-old boy. He later figured it out after I won the Teenage American, won the Mr. American, won the Universe and the Mr. Olympia. He said, oh, so you was the one who did
that. That's hilarious. Well, you talk people, this thing of spending time with people and training them and things like that, it brings up the point of who you socialize with, who you're around. Yeah. Like they came to you for training but being around, stars, it rubs off on you. You pick up ideas just in talking, like what we're doing right now. Just in talking, things come up. You can't change who you are, and the things we use lead to drive us wind up going in.
It's a whole nother level of energy, Larry. It's a proverb that I've often heard by one of my friends who's a retired recon Marine. He was my training partner for years. And he always would make a statement that you are what you eat and the company you keep. And that is so true. Being around people with like energy, like-mindedness, it helps to grow and develop you. It rubs off on you.
Absolutely. And the advantage, like we're always, you and I, we're in the same thing with those guys. You're always moving forward in your life if you got projects, if you haven't given up, and you find people like the Tyler Perry or Steve Harvey, and unless you use that retire word, you can retire from one thing, but you retire to do other things. Yeah. You don't retire from and then just a blank.
There you go, retire to. I love that.
And you retire to open up and take advantage of bigger opportunities. You win a race, that's the end of it. You win a race to open new doors, and new opportunities. Right. Mm-hmm. And what happened to you was that your plan A, you probably realized as you went on, your plan A was not limited to just bodybuilding, because otherwise you would have retired and that would have been it. You're like, at age 31, there's nothing left, you know. But that
Mhm.
wasn't your plan A. When did you realize your plan A was to go on and do great things and be a powerful leader in different arenas?
Well, Larry, after I won the eighth Olympia, I said, okay, this is it. I didn't announce a retirement. I never said I was retired. I just stepped away because I felt in my heart it was time to use that level of success and faith in other areas. And so then here we go with the show on the with ESPN, Lee Haney's Championship Workout.
Yeah.
From ESPN came a new contractual situation with Twin Laboratories, you know, which and again promoted my success. And then next thing you know, a opportunity with the Trinity Broadcast Network with a TV show called TotaLee Fit, and then a show with the Sports South Network. And then from there, I opened 3 different fitness centers. And from there, I started Lee Haney Nutrition, which is now I'm selling products all over the United States. Then from there, I started with the certification program, the International Association of Fitness Science, that certified people want to become personal trainers. So it was a whole world of opportunities out there. And as you said, you finished one project, okay, now let's graduate to the next project. Let's graduate. I had somebody ask me the other day, well, Lee, when do you plan to retire? I said, Moses didn't retire, neither did Joshua. I said, retirement is not what real men do. We move on, like you said, to the next challenge, to the next vision.
Thanks for listening to the $1 Million Mastermind. If you felt there were any valuable takeaways from this episode, please take a minute and leave us a 5-star review. Your feedback is important and really helps us get the word out to a wider audience. Remember, we have a valuable webinar that is absolutely free. Register for it right now at whitealumwinning.com. Thanks for listening.